Hi, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone tuning in or catching a replay. I'm Rebecca, a digital mompreneur of three beautiful girls and owner of my page, Rebecca So. Welcome once again, and I am really excited to share with all of you this new live series, Inspiring People, Inspiring Stories. Everyone has a story, and you will get to hear real life stories of how ordinary people like you and I are able to step into the digital world and own our very own business with the help of an easy to understand, trusted, and proven system to create the life that we love and choose. If you have been following my page, you will know by now I started this digital business as a stay at home mom. And today I have the honor of having Adeleen, a fellow stay at home mom, to share her story. Hi, Adeleen.
Hi! Hello, guys. From
Hi.
Singapore.
Oh, yes. We are from Singapore. I forgot to say that. Yeah. We are all from
Okay.
Singapore. And yeah, I would like Adeleen to introduce herself um, and tell us more about you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Adeleen, and I am a stay-at-home mom to my two children. They are currently attending primary one and secondary one. So there was a lot of transition going on and adapting to school. So recently, we also find that, Sky actually has a lot increase of homework. So what actually we were on the way. I was kind of like helping and practicing her last minute spelling that we didn't wasn't aware, but thanks to parents chat group that we have, we were able to support that. So yeah, this is a little bit about myself. I have some interest that I love, which is living a more sustainable lifestyle. For example, going to minimalist. So I like having less and really enjoying more in life rather than doing house chores and all that. So I also like a little bit of gardening and stuff like that. I used to have a community garden, which we kind of stopped because they actually asked us to start paying. So that kind of stopped us from committing further until later on. Yeah. So before I joined this business, I was actually an admin staff. I was kind of put in the position of everything also must do. So we call it bakala. So it was challenging because it was kind of someone that I know that hire me, because it was very difficult as a stay-at-home mom to actually go out and look for a job. I could send a lot of resume, but at the end of the day, I realized that nobody actually looked at them because there is a years of gaps that I haven't been out there working, right? So I remember having to kind of fake my CV by putting like the to fill in the gaps, like having time management, what I learned, and the skills that I picked up as a mother, like problem solving and all that, was actually added into the CV, which it also let me question about why do I actually have to validate myself to others, right, to get a
Mhm.
job, and letting others to tell me how much I'm actually worth. So
Yeah.
I realized that I didn't like that process of it, and working as a full time was no joke at all. It was a nightmare. It was madness all day long. The constant rushing, coming back, settling the kids, cooking, washing. I remember like waking up 12 or 2 a.m. to dry my clothes because the kids have run out of school clothes and whatnot. So
Oh,
all this has to be done, and it's
yeah.
really really stressful. And then the next day you wake up, the whole routine is again rushing the kids to settle in, rush to work and then pick them up. But intervene of it during lunch, I still have to rush to pick my son up from school, and bring him to my office or bring him to the tuition and back to work again. So it was really really stressful, and I think along the way I lose my sanity, and also I lose who I am as a person, because it was so unpleasant and so unhappy just living the day-to-day life, very monotonous, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was where I was before I started this business.
Yeah. I mean, okay, so you have answered my first question, like what was life before? No, no worries. Yeah, it's a natural thing, it's okay. But which comes to my next question, after you answer this question, it will be what made you step into this digital business?
Mm, I wasn't actually exploring a business in general. All I
Mm-hmm.
wanted was just to experience how to actually I see people working online, or like I don't know what they are doing, but they are just working from home, and that feeling to me sparked joy, because like there's so many things I could do if I am operating in my own schedule. And so one day we actually, it was National Day. We kind of got out, and then, we kind of go and watch fireworks. Sorry, there's a fly. So we went to watch fireworks, and I actually bumped into a friend, and she was asking me how I was doing, how's life and all that. And then we were kind of having a quick catch up. So I said, no, I just left my job like 2, 3 months ago. I wasn't sure where I am at. I was still very lost about like what am I going to do next? Because I'm reluctant to go back to workforce again. Having to meet schedule, and I was asked to do weird things like I probably had to go someone's house, go to her parents' house to go through the paperwork and all that. And I was like thinking, I don't think that is under my job scope. So like I need to own a phone, and bringing back the phone back home was like, it's crazy, because I want to come back and have a peace of mind and be with my family, and you're asking me to bring work home, by calling me in the middle of the night to ask me to sort out some stuff. So I really didn't want to go back to work. So that was my um, end in mind. And when she shared with me that are you open to explore online, and that kind of clicked everything together, like, oh yeah, if I was able to work online, then this could be my way out, this could be what I was searching for. So I really didn't go think into in depth whether I have that IT skill or whether whatever. So I just watch the free workshop and kind of evaluate whether is it something that I could do around my own schedule. And yeah, and that's pretty much changed my life. And I just took the step and explore and ask million of one question to my mentor, which is my friend back then. Honestly, I was really, really skeptical at first as well, but because she was a friend, so I am not shy to ask a lot of questions to get clear as well, because this is about me as well, right? Whether I'm the kind of person would be able to start. And of course, as a mentor, I have to ask her as well, because she will be guiding me, and I need to know whether she is someone that could be able to support and facilitate all my questions as well, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's very interesting how everyone came in to this. Yeah. I mean, I would am very interested to know, like, after stepping into this business, how has this business in general, how has that changed your life, uh,
Oh, wow. It
in
changed my
big or small ways? Mhm.
tremendously, I would say, because working so hard for someone else, and believing the fact that I have to live normal, like what everybody is doing, like study hard. Well, because I didn't, so that leaves me on a limitation as well. So I no longer chose job. I actually let job chose me, because of my qualification. So life wasn't that easy. I lose a big part of myself, especially when I become a mother. The role, it's always a priority to be a mom. It wasn't a priority to be me. It's not about me what I want. It's not about it's no longer about being be like like if when I fall sick and the kids fall sick at the same time, I don't have time to go think, how should I look after myself, or I should actually just rest. It's
Mhm.
always the kids first.
Yeah.
So I kind of demoted or devalued my own me. I lose the big part of me. I just live my day to day blindly, thinking that life it's okay. It's normal. Everybody is doing that. But I realized that the emotion that I have was just not acceptable anymore. Like, how many more years do I need to feel this way? And last of all, I wanted is my kids to feel that it's okay to live unhappy. Like, if you don't like something, then just stay on longer. Things is gonna change that way. In terms of personal development, I got to find myself again, which I'm really happy. Hi, Adeleen, nice meeting you. So, it's really nice to get to know myself and to be my own best friends. And besides that, I'm a lot more grounded, um, because of the journey that I chose to come in. I was able to offer the support and help others to achieve that kind of lifestyle as well. At the same time, during the pandemic, it was a tough time, right? But when was that? 2020. So I actually just got into the business like maybe 7 months into the business. My husband actually got retrenched. So it was a devastating time because back then he was the sole breadwinner, right? So it was tough. But that said, the focus was in this business, and in 2020, it was also the biggest milestone. I was able to hit three milestones just in 2020 alone itself as well. It
Wow.
was one of the peak period in my business. That said, my husband has not been working for 2 years. We
Mhm.
are still alive. We are happy. Our family get to stay at home, be safe. During the opening and closing, the crazy schedule of the kids not going school and all that. It was just crazy, but we because we are together, as my husband was with me, so we are able to coordinate that. And last year during my oldest PSLE, we pretty much stay home the whole year, just helping him cope. We didn't want him to feel left out, that we went out to have some fun and he had to stay home. So we give him a lot of moral support, and we were able to do that as well. Although I may have slowed down in my business, but because I can have that option right now to choose, because our training and our system are on automation. And yeah, and I've become a coach last year. And yes, I've done coaching call. And all this is all done in what, 2.5 years into the business. So I joined this business in August 2019. And working for so many years, I've never been promoted in my entire life before, not for any work, but because of this business, I was able to find that part of, oh, this is what people are talking about, the career, the life, and all that. And you know, um, I still feel really surreal. Like, even when people are like you, when you ask me you want to do an interview, I still feel like, I'm not really someone that is really that interested. I'm just ordinary mom, and I just want a simple life. I just want, to be together, harmony with my family, and really getting to know them and get to witness their milestone. I was honored to be able to witness all their milestone. I didn't miss out
Yeah.
any. Yeah, but also it comes with a price to pay, which,
Yes.
the income.
Yeah. I mean, which is why, I was telling you about it before this interview. Like, you know, everyone who's watching, I was a stay-at-home mom for more than like 7 years, from the beginning, because before I even became a mom, I mean, I had a miscarriage before I had my first child. So, you know, the what's that? My mindset, once I entered into motherhood, is like I have to give my 100% to them. But of course, like you said, it comes with a price, and the price is I don't get that price tag of my income in dollar form, you know I don't get that pay slip. But you know um I get to nurse my children, and through all these years as I'm taking care of them, my greatest achievement is they are often less uh, like they're healthier, and they get sick lesser. Yeah,
Definitely, because I
yeah,
I've tried that as well. I tried that with my oldest and my youngest. Oldest, cause first time mom. I tried to nurse, intervene, and formula. I can see a big shift in their health. Where for the youngest one, I actually breastfed her for 3 years. So you can see she is able to self heal herself. I'm quite holistic, so I tried not to give medication for the kids.
yeah.
I
Same.
chose to let them fight the virus and all that, right? So
Yeah,
she will go like extreme fever and coughing and respiratory, and and the next thing you know, she recovered already. It's like, wow, okay.
yeah, yeah. The vast difference, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's
So
the
I
joy
mean,
of being a mother, isn't it?
yes, which is like to me, the every single milestone, the step that they take is like so precious. And like 2 years ago when I was having my youngest, I was like, wow, you know, third child already, and my husband is the sole breadwinner, and I could feel the stress and everything. It's like, wow. Then I thought I need to go back to work, but when I found out that um, just before going for to go back into the workforce, I found
Mhm.
this. Wow, it opened up
It's,
my mind.
it's no accident, right? Like it's just so timely,
Yes,
right? So when I
yes,
touched this opportunity, I when I was introduced, I just took it as an opportunity for me
yes,
to really change my life around. I really didn't had the time to think because I was in, I think was in kind of the worst spot in my life of like, okay, holy moly, what am I gonna do now? Finding a job is difficult. But if I find a job, then I couldn't be with my kids and all this conversation just like, and the infant care back then was so expensive that it was pretty much equivalent to my full-time job as well. So what am I
yeah,
supposed to do? So actually,
yeah,
it was so much cheaper for me to stay home to look after them,
yes,
right? It doesn't make
yeah,
sense for me to pay other people to look after my own kids. Plus, you got
yes,
three. Oh my goodness, that's you probably have to make a lot more
yeah.
to cover that.
And furthermore, I was in early childhood industry. Early childhood industry, they don't pay that well. Then might as well I put my early childhood knowledge into my children.
Yeah, to nurture your own children, definitely. I think no other teachers or a school will do a better nurturing to our own children. I would say that, right?
Yes,
Because mommy always
yes,
have the heart to nurture them,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that is why I really wanted you to come and share, because we have so much in common, and yet we are so different. And thank you so much for sharing your story. It has always been part of my motivation. And yeah, with that, I would really want to ask you if you have any best advice to give to the audience or anyone watching.
Um, Best advice. I'm not doctor lah, huh? So I'm just gonna share from my experience.
Yeah.
I have experienced trauma in my childhood before, um, but I've always been a victim of my own story about my life. There was a lot of trade-off, of course. There is a lot of pay-off. Being sorry for myself, so that I don't have to move forward, so that I don't have to do anything. I was trapped for a long time, but till I decided to take responsibility about my life and to choose differently, um, to understand the power of choice. Being aware of where we are, it's the greatest thing for me to even realize. When I finally realized that I don't like where I'm at, I can chose to do differently, right? But if I decide to choose to not move and continue that life that I'm happy, then I shall not be the one complaining as well because I chose, right? So each and every choice that we make, we need to be happy with the choice that we make. If at this point of time you are not happy where you are at, then how are you gonna do differently? Whether is it life, be it whether is it this business or not. This could be it, but well, we will never know if you find out for yourself as well, right? Um, One of my biggest fear is really regrets. I think it's good to understand what is your biggest fear in your life. For me, is regret. I don't want to live with regret of not achieving and not living my 100%, and in my last breath probably thinking about, oh, why didn't I do this, why did I do that, and feeling sorry for myself. And that is not where I want to have. So it's why I set a very strong role model to my kids as well, to show up. Life can get difficult. Yes, it can be,
Yes.
but it's okay. You still can have a choice to do something different and work on it and fine tune along the way. Because honestly, just living day to day is really, really boring, I would say. So good to live spontaneously sometimes. So why not just watch the 90 minutes and see probably if this business could change your life or not, because we never know, right? Because it
Yeah.
changed my life tremendously.
Yeah.
Being like 1 year into the business, I was able to achieve all this.
Mm.
So yeah, that is for me. Yeah, so do
Okay.
check this out. If not, then go do something really, really different today. Like, I don't know,
Yes.
do some act of kindness today, or just be spontaneous on one thing that you have not done before. Right? It could be as simple as that to change your life around. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much for the great sharing, and thank you everyone for tuning in. I appreciate you staying tuned all the way till
Oh,
now.
Elaine
So
watching her.
thank you for your time. Yeah, Elaine. Hi, Elaine.
Bye.
Yeah. So thank you everyone for your time, and we'll end this interview now. So stay tuned to the next one that I will be having next week. So see you again. Bye.
Bye. Stay safe.